Thing is, this is the worst time zone thing ever, right? And I explicitly explained that to some of my fellow content creators, and they were just throwing the absolute fucking hissy fit because that, they can't then easily compete and get top rewards and cheese the system to sell coupons for a fucking vehicle that is, I wouldn't say it's useless. The IL-2 might be. The M60 I'd say is interesting. Now, World War Mode is a hell of a fucking thing. I wouldn't say it's good, I wouldn't say it's bad, but there hasn't been a lot of improvements. Top tier vehicles, yeah, sure, that's interesting, it's exciting. The second set of battles is supposed to be starting today as I record this. But the time allocated for playing the operations as stated in the announcement of the World War Mode, the times are hella strange. And strange for two main reasons. It caters to those mainly in Europe. Even some of my American friends have had troubles keeping up with the time zones. Fair enough. I understand this. This is a decision that you have made based on the fact that competitive squadrons play squadron battles at those regular allocated times. However, we have brought this up a couple of times. We have brought this up a considerable amount of times. The fact that it is unfair to those in the Southern Hemisphere and in Japan and some parts of Asia as well. If you want to get a chance at getting a free vehicle, you're rather limited on that regard. Why not instead make the events 24 hours long like most other games? For example, in order for us in the Southern Hemisphere to take part, it's incredibly odd hours. Even people in Japan or America have issues sometimes. You've got work, school, and quarantine, and several things you need to get on with. You can't necessarily get up at 12 midnight just to finish up at 7 AM just to try and get a couple of battle stars every single other day. Granted, a lot of competitive squadrons saying that making it 24 hours long makes it so the competitive squadrons, would only need to be active during those certain set period of time of the brief 7 or 8 hours or however long the event goes for. But it's still a terrible option for the casual players who want to unlock and earn a vehicle. I'm going to be frank. That view is, it really only works for those in the northern hemisphere. You can still sleep, you can still do the regular things in your day-to-day stuff. Meanwhile, squadrons that are in terrible time zones have no choice in the matter and have to compete in terrible time zones just to get rewards. How can you not realise that not everyone can waste all their time for an event just to do them at stupid hours? So, Gaijin, why the fuck are you not doing it a 24-hour sort of event like most other video games? Ask yourself this, with all the server issues, with everything that's been going on recently, is this a game mode that is ready to go? I don't necessarily think so. But my question to you is, why the fuck haven't you kept a consistent time schedule? And now I understand that you cannot please everyone, but it's unfortunate that in order to get the free vehicles now for most of the people in the Southern Hemisphere, we now have to fork up golden eagles just to be able to complete the events, which is a pain in the ass, especially for those of us who just want to get a free vehicle and just have some enjoyment with being able to get a free vehicle from an event. Isn't the whole point of being able to play this? Give your feedback, be honest about sort of how the operation went? When you have server issues like this, when you're pushing back time zones and fucking around with everything, it pisses people off. It's just unfortunate. And saying that the tasks are pretty easy and the amount of stars you need is rather low for such a high-tier vehicle compared to some other events is also frankly bullshit as well. Because it does take time to get these things. Any sort of vehicle that you want to get for free, it takes time. But if you can't be there because you have real-life commitments like a job, university, school, whatever that may be, caring for another family member, could you necessarily take part? It's quite a shame. Now, I can see the comments already from competitive squadrons and people who have done well in the World War mode as is. This is a separate subject. This is about the event itself. This is about accessibility for everyone, not just for a select few, and for a strange time zone period which Gaijin allocates, which makes no bloody sense at all. And obviously, I'm here just championing for the average player. However, if you are lucky enough to be able to compete in a time zone which is relative to you, good for you. But just bear in mind that there are people that won't be able to get the rewards and will have to invest copious amounts of money into a game that probably doesn't deserve it in the first place. It's not fair for everybody. And World War Mode still has its own inherent issues which hasn't been solved at all. The only thing that's bloody changed is markers, and even that is a fucking travesty in itself. Anyway, we'll talk about World War Mode in a separate video later on. My name is Ash. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.